Hey, did you know Americans stop or prevent a violent crime 1 to 3 million times per year with a gun? That's right. Studies from Florida State, the CDC, and the Crime Prevention Research Center show that guns are used to protect life 25 times more than they were used to take a life. That's 25 times. And the estimate is on the low end. And if you believe that good people deserve the best tools to defend themselves and their families, then you should be a member of the San Diego County Gun Owners. San Diego County Gun Owners makes it easy to connect with the community that's fighting to defend and restore your Second Amendment right. Become a member today. It's only $10 a month. Go to stcgo.org/join to become a member today.
All right, Gun Owners Radio now provides marketing and advertising services. Not only can you help, let's start that over. Not only can we help you get in front of gun owners, the gun owners community, but we can help your business get seen. Websites, SEO, e-commerce, email, marketing, our team can help you connect with your customers. The first 7 people that email get a free website checkup. It's a $300 value where our experts review your website and give you an honest assessment. Email rich@gunownersradio.com to get the free website audit. I know you know somebody with a website who needs help, so tell them about our free website checkup. Mike, I think I need to wear my glasses, man. What do you think?
Either that or study more.
Is your mic working?
I don't think his is.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there you
go.
So
right.
closer. There we go.
Study more or wear glasses. Yeah, well. Mike Pettengill, thank you so much for coming in the studio, man. How are you doing?
Good, Mr. Schwartz. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic. I'm looking forward to the show today, man. I just think you're an excellent guest. I really enjoyed having you on last time, and I just think you're one of the most interesting guys that we've had on.
You need to get out more.
I like his tattoos.
That's all I was talking about.
Yeah.
His tattoos.
Yeah, tattoos,
I just meant your tattoos. Your tattoos go real well on radio.
Yeah.
Alicia, how are you?
I am fantastic.
Were you out on the range?
I was out on the range all day.
Home on the range?
Home.
What were you doing on the range?
Just running a bunch of private lessons. It was kind of interesting. I had one couple that I worked with this morning that I've been working with for a decent amount of time, and they've been a little reluctant to kind of be pushed. And today I pushed them, and I didn't let up. And so it actually was fantastic. They were so happy.
What was the push?
Being pushed. They are wanting to perfect their marksmanship. They're looking to get their concealed carry, and they want to get that marksmanship perfect. They want to be able to put all 10 rounds in the hole the size of a penny. And sometimes you just got to get people out of their head. Yeah. And there's this technique where we use, it's called kind of essentially negative feedback. And so I actually cut their target and pushed them to present that gun, do presentation, and to take that shot and take.
What do you mean? Fast. You cut it so where there's a smaller target?
So there is a hole.
Or you added some water.
Make it grow. No, I actually put a hole in the center of their target, and the idea is aim for that hole. If you don't. It's basically a mind trick, and maybe Mike, if he wants to speak to this, it's a bit of a mind trick, and it pushes you and it presses you, and it basically, if you don't see your hits, you did a great job, and it takes away that need for that perfection, and when you take away that stress, you'll actually find that you meet your goal, and you actually do better, and it's just a different mindset and a way of thinking, and their goal is to get to that defensive shooting.
So rather than aiming at a target, now they're aiming at a hole. It's kind of that miss small. What is it? Aim small, miss small.
Yeah, if you ask someone to put a magazine full of rounds in the dead center mass of a target, that's what they'll do. If you ask them to aim for the tiny little dime-sized hole you've just made in the center mass, they'll get a lot closer to that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's awesome. So how did they respond to their success?
They were all smiles, and they left so happy. And the last few weeks, I've been trying to encourage it. I've been trying to encourage them to step out of their zone, and they didn't want to. And I kind of let them be. And today I thought, you know what, it's time to push. And so I pushed, and they did it, and they were so happy. So it was a great result. So
cool
sometimes we got to step out of our zones and just take that chance. Yeah.
How cool is that? That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah. Fantastic.
All right. Well, very, very cool. Mike, I'm looking forward to talking to you. Give us a preview. What do you think we're going to talk about here today?
I got a couple things that are going to be fun. One of the things I wanted to come in and chat about was a new analysis target and a new analysis class that I put together called Handgun Aptitude Test, which kind of forces everyone to not just shoot, but figure out where you're good and where you're bad.
Oh, wow. Cool. How'd you come up? Well, we'll talk more about it.
Yeah.
So yesterday I got to give a talk to a group in Ramona at the main stage. And a couple, 3-4 times a year, they have a political event where they have some guest speakers and they kind of focus on, some particular aspect. And yesterday was the Second Amendment. So I've been going up there about once a year. I was trying to think if I've gone up there every year, but I think the first time I went up there was 2015. And so just about every year for what is that, 8 years?
Yep.
5 plus 3 is 8. All right. And they're wonderful. They're just absolutely wonderful. They're all patriots and love the Second Amendment and had some great questions. I also got John Dillon, the attorney, to go and talk, and it felt good because I realized, 8 years ago, the talk was, well, here's what I want to do, here's what I'm thinking of doing, and this talk was, look at all the stuff we have done, 8 years later, the lawsuits, the people that we've gotten elected, and I decided to, rather than just kind of give them a list of, well, AB, whatever, Senate bill, whatever, and this, that, and the other thing, and don't forget to call and write and email your blah, 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 blah. I told them the stories about the lawsuits. This lawsuit, the Rena lawsuit that's going to get rid of the roster. Here's who Lana Rena is. She's somebody who was struggling with her hands with, what do you call it when your joints hurt?
Arthritis.
She was struggling with arthritis, found a gun that she could operate when she was out of California on vacation, came back to California and said, why can't I buy this here? And called and said, she was actually my neighbor. And she said, well, what's going on? And I explained the roster, and now she's a plaintiff on a roster, and the roster lawsuit, and hopefully that's going to get rid of the roster.
That can't be true, Mike, because it's called the safe handgun roster.
Yeah, I know.
It must be a very unsafe handgun.
Exactly.
She wanted. What was it, by the way?
Easy, Smith & Wesson.
Shield Easy.
Imagine that.
Easy. And then, I told stories about some of the folks that we've gotten elected, from Laura Lothian, who's she was a realtor. She was a single mom and a realtor, and then boom, became successful and ran for office. Jim Miller, who's on the Miller case, going to get rid of the assault weapons ban. He's a founding member of the San Diego County Gun Owners. And I really wanted them to know these are real people. They're not special. They're just normal, everyday folks who were engaged and decided, hey, you know what, enough's enough. And it went over really, really well, and I'm very, very happy that you guys invited me. The Ramona gang, Dan Summers, thank you so much for having me up there and talk to all your folks.
Hey, if you own a gun in California, you should have an attorney that specializes in California gun laws on your speed dial. And if you ever have a legal matter that involves firearms, you need California's firearm lawyer, John Dillon, especially if you have questions about red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you just need to know that your guns are California compliant. Our trusted firearms attorney is John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun laws. Put his number on your phone right now, 760-642-7150. That's John Dillon, California firearms lawyer, 760-642-7150.
Awesome. So our first guest is Mike Pettengill from Personal Protection Academy. We've had you on before, and you were so interesting and fun to talk to that we are having you on again. And today you're here to talk about, well, tell everybody what you're here to talk about.
So what we did is, Personal Protection Academy, we do a lot of what Alicia does in San Diego, but also up in Riverside, CCW training and personal lessons and classes and so on and so forth. And we came up with a test. So here's what happens. Alicia's gonna it's gonna be perfect for radio. She's gonna nod and say 20 times. What we see a lot at the range is you see folks who stand flat-footed and they They shoot with a great isosceles stance at stationary targets, and they don't alter a lot of stuff. And so what we tried to do is come up with a test, an evaluation that says, where are you right now as a shooter? Where do you want to go? And where are you deficient? And so we came up with this. We made a special target, designed a target, had it printed out. Got about 3,000 of them sitting in our garage. And what we do is we run the test, and the test is 10 drills. Some of them we invented. Most of them we did a little R&D, rob and duplicate from people smarter than us. And we have people doing timed, untimed, analysis of their shooting from the holster, from the low ready, you name it. We do a little bit to try to help people figure out where they are and where they need to go.
This target is amazing. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of a silhouette, kind of it looks like an IDPA style silhouette,
as if it was robbed directly from that.
And then you have a little bullseye off to the right.
Someone might recognize that as a B8 target, just to the right of the head of the IPSC target.
And then you have a bunch of triangles and squares and circles,
and colors and
numbers and colors
and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my!
Oh my! All right. Well, let's talk about it. First off, how do you want to present this? What's the best way to kind of explain this?
Well, Alicia, talk to me about what do you see the typical shooter do at the range? What does an average dude do who shoots a couple times?
How it's going to look on the target?
No, just what do they do to practice? What do they do to get better, quote unquote?
What do they do to get better? They throw ammo downrange and they pepper the paper.
Yeah,
and they muzzle somebody,
muzzle someone, have a couple negligent discharges, laugh about it.
Yeah, dump a mag, and then
And what I see a lot of times is folks come into the range with 500 rounds and they're exhausted and sweaty and they're doing the same thing over and over and over again. Maybe taking shots at steel at 45 yards as if that's relevant to anything we're going to do.
Right.
And what we decided on this is how can we take any shooter at any level, beginner, super advanced, and help them analyze where they're deficient in their shooting, and then be able to really quickly give them a couple of very practical drills and skills on how to improve in those areas. So this is a test. We run the class. It takes 2 hours. But it doesn't have to be done with us. We actually we have the targets are for sale online at a relatively cheap price. The curriculum and the test are free on our website. It's not something where we want to say, listen, you got to do it through us. You got to pay us $500 every time you do it. That's not it. What we want to do is we want to make this accessible to people so that they can, anywhere they want to be, they can analyze how they're shooting and how they can get better.
You know, I'm kind of glossing through this, and I like that you have a good mix on the drills. You have some are going to be from like a compressed ready, some are from a holster. There's a good mix of like point shooting, presentation shooting, like speed and accuracy. I'm kind of seeing a blend.
Yeah, and it's really you can take a tactical shooter, and they're going to be great at 4 of these. You can take a competition shooter, and they're going to be good at 4 of these, but you got to be a well-rounded shooter to be a good defensive shooter. And so what we do is literally, if you go onto our website, which is handgunaptitudetest.com, you can take a look at the target, and what you'll see is literally you shoot to the center mass, you shoot to the eye box. Some of it's for speed. We stand behind you with a timer, and we add you that little stress of time. And some of it is shooting at a 1x1 square. Some of it is just, I got students that have come, well, that's absolutely impossible. Like, well, you know what? The guy who did it last time did just fine. So how do we get you to there? And it doesn't matter if you say, well, I can't draw from the holster. I haven't done that yet. Not a problem. We give you the opportunity to start the test completely from the low ready. And you say, well, I'm great up close with rapid fire, but I can't do distance. Okay, good. You're going to have a difficulty on that part of the test. Let's tell you how you improve in those areas.
Well, until you assess where your deficits are, how are you going to know where to work?
Yeah, exactly.
You got to kind of find those holes.
Exactly, and that's what makes it really neat. Is I've had people. So the test is really. It looks kind of complicated. It's 7 pages long, but when you get into it, it's pretty simple. It's a hole on paper is 1 point. The maximum number of points you can have is 100. And so you get bonuses for going faster. You don't get deficits for anything. And I've had people come in and they've gotten a 48 out of 100. And they're like, that's great. I'm really excited. And they come back and do it 2 weeks later and they've practiced a couple things. Like, I got 52 this time. I did 52. And it gives you something to shoot for, something to strive for. And I've given this out to a lot of other instructors and let them play with it. And they say that kind of universally, no, it doesn't matter where you are as a shooter. It gives you something positive to work with.
So so it boils it down to a 1 out of 100?
Yeah, so the maximum score is 100, and it's basically, except for I have a couple of long distance shots that are to the eye. They go out to 15 yards, and it's to the eye box, and those are 2 points each. But everything else is one hole in the paper, one round in the paper gives you 1 point, and it tells you exactly where you are. If you want to compare yourself to your buddy, great. If you want to compare yourself to the best person who's done the test yet, great. If you want to compare how you did a month ago, let's do that too.
Wow. And it's timed?
So parts of it are timed and parts of it are untimed. And that's a part of it, is that it's not all high stress from the holster. And I tell actually probably a majority of the students that I take through the test is I tell them, listen, you get bonus points for going fast, but you don't get points for not putting rounds on target. So the first time you do it, ignore the clock. Just forget the bonus points for going fast and just hit the target. That's what matters.
Interesting. So is it if you miss? So can you get 100 holes and under time?
It ends up being 79 holes. You take 79 shots for the test, and then your bonuses you get 21 bonus points for speed.
Oh wow! And if you miss, but can you make up a shot?
No. It's you if you take 5 shots and you get 4 holes, you got 4 points.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome, man. So and now it's like, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now you have like an apples to apples comparison.
Yeah, exactly. And I've taken frankly I R&D'd this, robbed and duplicated this from so many other instructors, and I've taken so many other instrucors' tests, and it's like, okay, in this section you multiply it times 2 and then divide it by 3.75, and then if the sun is in this position, you add an extra 5 points. And I just wanted to make it simple. I wanted everyone to be able to figure this out.
That's cool, man. That's very cool.
Yeah, and I want people to be able to do this without me and Alicia, to be able to get a couple targets and then figure it out on their own.
So what's your typical score?
So I haven't hit 100 yet.
That was going to be my question.
I did hit 97 once.
Oh, congratulations.
So, but I didn't hit 100.
Has anybody hit 100?
Nobody's hit 100 yet.
Wow.
So
challenge.
Yeah, my wife's got the highest female score so far.
Ooh. What was hers?
91.
Wow. That's awesome.
I'm tempted to come up there to Wildemar and see you.
Alicia's going to get the next highest female score. But that's another thing, too, is you don't have to do it with us.
Well, I want to, though.
You can. I'd love to have you. I'll have you anytime. But what it allows people to do is you don't have to pay me a couple bucks to do this. You can order a couple targets, get the free curriculum, and take it wherever and whenever you want to do it.
And then I'm looking at the scorecard. You can go back. So each of these, there are 10 tests, and you can go back and see, all right, test whatever. Test number 3 and number 6, that's where I really messed up. That's where and you can look back and like, well, test 3 is testing whatever.
Yeah, and I've had a couple, let's say Alicia wants to adopt this as one of her things. I've had a couple of other instructors take it. I love this. I want to take it. What do I pay you? Nothing. Just do it. Have fun with it. And so Alicia looks at it and she says, hey, any instructor is going to be able to analyze this really well. Hey, you did really good here. Where you had problems with was your malfunctions, your reloads, and your holster draw. So here's the things that I want you to work on between now and when we see each other a month from now, and we'll analyze those things. It gives a section for the instructor to write notes. You need help in this area. You're deficient in this area. But your score is going to tell you that as well. And any good instructor is going to be able to look at this and say, yeah, I can see where you need help, and we'll work with you on that.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing this?
We started this about 8 months ago. Started working on the targets about a year ago. and been rolling it out ever since, and had a lot of instructors take it and kind of be guinea pigs with it, and they liked it.
Did you have to go through different iterations? Or you pretty much nail it right off the top?
Nailed the target right off the top. I've adjusted the test itself a couple times, and so you'll see in the bottom of the test itself, it says versions July 18th, 2023 or something like that. There's been about 7 versions of the test that I've tweaked a couple things.
It's a pretty fun. This looks fun too.
Well, I love that you have, like you mentioned, you have a grading rubric in there. So, like you said, anybody can go online and get this, and they can apply it. And I love that you can. I mean, if you want to make it fun and compete with someone else, great. But you can also just that which gets they say that which gets measured gets worked upon. So it gives you an opportunity to kind of see your growth, because sometimes that growth is hard to see. When it's gradual, we don't notice it and we can get discouraged. But you have a measurable way to kind of visibly see your growth and your improvement. And I think that's really beneficial.
Yeah, what I've seen a lot of people that have come to me after shooting for 4 or 5 years, and they just kind of get bored with shooting holes in targets from 15 yards away, and just gets the same old thing, and you have no way of measuring yourself, like you said.
Hey, if you listen to Gun Owners Radio, you know I feel about current government and financial system, so it's no secret I'm a big believer in diversifying your money with precious metals like gold and silver. But when it comes to buying precious metal, you need the right company in your corner. That's why we're partnered with the top-rated precision metal company, Goldco, because reputation matters. Goldco is a 6-time Inc. 5000 winner, 2022 Company of the Year, and they've helped folks like you and me place over $2 billion in gold and silver. And right now, they're offering Gun Owner Radio supporters up to $10,000 in bonus silver when opening a qualified IRA account. This is your opportunity to protect yourself from out-of-control, corrupt government. Don't pass it up. Grab your phone today and give Goldco a call. Take action today so you don't regret it tomorrow. Give Goldco a call at 855-612-6354. That's 855-612-6354. And tell them you heard it right here on Gun Owners Radio.
All right, we're talking to Mike Pettengill from Personal Protection Academy. He's down here from Wildemar talking about his aptitude test that he came up with. But first, I want to ask you, who was Clinton Keith?
That's a good question.
I know, right?
Yeah. Where Mike's going with this, that's the street of which our business is on, and I have no clue.
I don't know who Clinton Keith. It sounds like a country music guy.
I feel like within seconds, if we stall long enough, Alicia is going to have the answer.
All right, Alicia will come back to us with exactly who is Clinton Keith. So, okay, you came up with this aptitude test. I think it's really, really awesome. Are you familiar with the FBI's test?
Yeah, it's a good test.
And what did that not have that made you come up with this test?
So here's what I did. Not just the FBI test, but you name the shooting test. Mm-hmm. I've done it. If it's on the interwebs, I've done it, and I love to analyze it. And it's not that this is the gold standard of tests, but it was like every test that I've ever taken doesn't cover as much as I think it needs to cover for a good defensive shooter, right?
Which is what? Talk about that.
Well, a little bit of everything. You've got to have marksmanship, okay? If you've got to take a hostage shot, you've got to be able to hit an eye box at 15 yards. If you have malfunctions, you've got to do that quick and get back in the fight. If you need emergency reloads, you've got to do that and get back in the fight. But also, can you come from your holster quickly? Can Identify multiple targets that don't have a pattern? And so that's what we're doing here. Is what we're trying to do is say, let's find something that tests every aspect of what you would need as a defensive shooter.
So this test also tests malfunction clearances and reloads?
Yeah, for sure. So you have a section that you have to do type 1 malfunction for time, type 2 malfunction for time, type 3 malfunction for time. You also have a section where you have to do emergency reload for time, tactical reload for time. Then it's going to give you a lot of areas that a lot of shooters have just never played with.
That's cool. And then once you have this, you basically analyze. All right, here's where you're lacking. Let's work on this.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Having fun with it.
I think that takes a very motivated and analytical instructor to not just come up with a test, but come up with such a functional and purposeful test. Yeah,
my wife is the brains, the beauty, and pretty much anything good about our business. But I'm a very arithmetic kind of guy. Please don't read that as I'm good at math. I just think very linearly, and it's like, what can we chart in my ability? How can we give my ability a mathematical score, and then what can we say about that score?
So you like spreadsheets? You're the kind of guy. Oh man, there it is, right there, the sweet spot.
Pie charts. Me and Kamala Harris, Venn diagrams. Oh yeah, yeah.
Are you good with spreadsheets? Because I may have I might abuse our relationship if you say yes.
Yes, sadly I am. I love that stuff.
All right, I bet you just open yourself up to many calls of, hey man, how does this one formula work?
It's all Control C, Control V. Come on.
That's awesome. That's very cool. How do you personally teach malfunctions or malfunction clearances? Do you do it the front sight way, or do you have something different?
There's not a lot of variations you can do. I was an instructor out at Front Sight for a while, and had a big boy membership given to me by my father-in-law almost 20 years ago, and so a lot of this is influenced by Front Sight. But when it comes to fixing your malfunctions, it's a lot of it comes down to tap rack flip and just move on. And I deviated. If you're familiar with the Front Sight way, I deviated on type 3s pretty aggressively and kind of went a little bit more towards the NRA way. If you know that, it's
what's the difference? I don't
know. Shoving your magazine under your armpit is the NRA way, and it makes it smell great. And but it's as opposed to dropping your mag and seeing if you have another mag. Why don't you just retain your mag? And then the way I used to retain my mag at Front Sight was I put it in my pinky. Well, not everybody's got monster hands like I do, and so when I am working with students, I encourage them just put it in your armpit. Put it in if you're right-handed, put it in your right armpit.
I have another question along that line.
Oh.
Malfunctions or stoppages? What's the terminology that you prefer?
Malfunction.
All right.
Why ask that? Interesting question.
So some people kind of get a burr about that.
Sure.
That malfunction actually technically, if you kind of look at the definition, a malfunction is technically going to be some type of mechanical failure of the gun, whether it be like a spring pop or or something mechanically incorrect, and that what we think of as malfunctions, like a failure to feed, all those things, those are in these people's minds is a stoppage.
So they really,
and so it comes down to semantics. What's that? Yeah, some people do. I was just curious.
We are so good at making mountains out of molehills.
Yeah, that's that. And you know why? That's because 9 millimeter is better than 45.
Actually, you got to start with
actually. Oh, God. Yeah. We do a lot. Our business does a lot with social media, and here's the formula. Happy to put it out there. Ask a stupid question that gun guys will fight over, and they come back to your TikToks and your Instagrams and your reels over and over and over again.
Pedantic. I think that's the term.
Yeah.
Pedantic. We are the most pedantic people.
Yeah.
Anyway, the type 3, the only thing I didn't like about the way they taught it is I felt like they should have, they had 12 steps or something like that.
Check, lock, strip, rack, insert, rack.
And I believe that sounds close.
I might be right.
I felt that they should have broken it down into three steps with steps inside the steps, because they were asking people to memorize the whole thing, and I felt like you should have it should be broken down into analyze, and then get it out, get the malfunction cleared, and then reload the gun. And then within those steps, there are steps to do each of those. But I would get lost in 14 steps. Or
kind of think of almost like you can kind of frame the big picture.
Yeah.
With with a bigger concept, and then from there, the baby steps are easier to.
Yeah, I felt it was more thoughtful.
Pieces of the pie.
Yeah. There you go. But other than that, the actual function. And I think I always stuck mine under my arm too, because it just No, I like the smell. I'm going to be honest with you. No, it just was easier. I mean, so as opposed to, I have short fingers, so trying to hold on to a mag and blah blah blah. I just stick it under my arm.
Yeah, yeah. Frankly, you put it in your mouth. Who cares? I mean, other than the whole lead thing, it's fine.
Yeah.
But the one of the things that I talk to people about, and this is going to be another one, isosceles or Weaver. And what I tell my students is, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Whatever you don't do, don't grab onto somebody's way, the way, and become so ingrained in that when the dookie hits the fan, that you're wait, where should my feet be? How should my hands be? So just shoot the gun.
You know what I find? I don't know if you're going to like this or not. I give people 2 rules. One is I want your feet to have some type of base. So, take that shoulder width base, make it what you want. Isosceles Weaver, I don't care, but you need to have a base to your feet. And from there, I like your upper body forward of center. Don't do that butt suck and lean the upper body back. Lean into it.
Yeah,
yeah. And I kind of let people, encourage them, make it your own. But I try to give that framework.
Yeah, I describe it to my students as a toolbox.
Yep.
Take something from Alicia, take something from Pettengill, take something from Schwartz, take something from your next instructor, and then take something from Gunsight and something from SIG Academy, and then make it your way. Mm-hmm. Don't become a devotee of some instructor. I tell my students, please don't just come to me. Go to someone else.
Oh yeah.
So here's what we're going to do. Everybody listening, the first 5 people who go to the website. What's the website?
HandgunAptitudeTest.com.
HandgunAptitudeTest.com. Now, the first thing you have to do is know how to spell
right.
aptitude. That's the first test in this test. Go there, download this, take the test, and the first 5 people who email Gun Owners Radio or San Diego County Gun Owners, you just get us your score sheet, scan it, and send us your score sheet. We'll give you a shirt. We'll give you a shirt and some stickers. Because I think this is great. I want to get people doing this. That's a good idea, right?
Yeah, no, that's good. And here's what we do is Handgun Aptitude Test. Mm-hmm. Acronym of course is HAT. No. And for people who get above a certain score, we give them a hat that says HAT on it. We're pretty excited about that. Well, okay, let's be serious. I'm excited. My wife thinks it's ridiculous.
Hey, have you ever wanted to learn how to fly and get a pilot's license? Well, hey, here in San Diego, pilots can fly almost every day, which makes San Diego one of the best places to learn how to fly in the world. And you can learn to fly with San Diego Flight Training International. You can check out the deal just for Gun Owner Radio listeners. 1 hour of ground school, 1 hour of flight with an instructor. Yes, you can fly. And normally that's $400, but for listeners, that's going to be $350. You need to get started today. It's easy. Just give them a call at 858-569-1822. Learn to fly with SDFTI. That's 858-569-1822.
All right, Mike, that was awesome. Thank you so much. And also, you are a sponsor at Gun Prom, aren't you?
Yes, sir. It's my challenge to all other firearms instructors is Personal Protection Academy has a champagne table. Do you?
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. You jumped in early, too, man. I appreciate that very, very much.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
If you guys don't know, September 16th is Gun Prom, so go to gunprom.com, buy your tickets. You can buy an individual ticket for $150. That comes with a $50 opportunity drawing packet, or you can sponsor a table like Studley Mike here did. Both are appreciated, and it's going to be a good time. I think it's going to be a very, very, very good time. It's shaping up to be a good time. And you only have... well, it's not even 2 weeks. It's a week from Friday, which I think is the 8th. September 8th is when we stop selling. No more tickets after September 8th, which I believe is a week from Friday. So not the end of this week, the end of next week, you're done. Cannot sell any more tickets after the 8th. So go do it. Thanks, Mike. Sincerely appreciate your participation, coming all the way down, bringing your lovely wife, doing a table. I think it's awesome. Thank you.
Love it. You guys are worth it.
All right, now it's Miller time. So everybody,
it's not Bud Light.
No, I don't know anybody named Bud Light. Anyway, those of you who don't know, Jim Miller is on the Cajon Valley School Board out in El Cajon area, and he is a founding board member of San Diego County Gun Owners. He's an attorney. He is a scholar. He is an athlete. He is a really great guy. I consider him a friend. I hope he considers me a friend as well because I have so much respect for him. He's such a great man. And he is the Miller in the Miller case. Now, the Miller case is the case that's going to get rid of the assault weapons ban, which, of course, assault weapon is a bogus term. It's actually just a ban on normal semi-automatic rifles, long guns, actually, in California. So the Miller case is going to get rid of that. Even before the Bruin case, it's kind of interesting. The Bruin case, a couple of years, year and a half, something like that, before the Bruin case even happened, or the Bruin decision happened, Judge Benitez, St. Benitez, ruled in our favor and said, yeah, you're right. This assault weapons ban here in California is not constitutional. It was really interesting. I was actually in the courtroom, and they wouldn't let you take pictures in a federal court. In fact, I was messing around on my phone, and the bailiff came storming over. He was not happy. So they wouldn't let you take pictures. But in my mind, in my head, inside my head, the Benitez, I wanted to take a picture of Benitez because he said, look, I'm not a gun guy. I really want to see what exactly are we talking about here. And so security went to their armory and brought him an AR pattern rifle, and he inspected it from the bench. And I thought, man, that's such a cool picture. Seeing Benitez inspect an AR at the bench. Anyway, that is the first time in U.S. history that a federal judge has said these assault weapons are unconstitutional. Of course, he had to, it got sucked up into an en banc and blah, blah, blah. A couple years later, the Bruin decision happened, and it was pretty much cut and paste from the Miller decision. The Miller decision that Benitez wrote was very much based on text and history and tradition. And I think he did that on purpose. I think he wrote this thing in anticipation of what Bruin was going to bring to the table. And sure enough, Bruin decision happened, and the courts, the Supreme Court basically said, "Hey, you need to relook at this thing," because it was kind of tied up. And the Ninth Circuit kicked it back to Benitez and said, "Hey, let's relook at this thing." So they had they had him come in and both sides, and we've been waiting for the decision ever since. I was telling people last December, any day now. And I don't know. People keep asking me, well, what's the holdup? Like, what are we waiting for? I honestly don't know. Much smarter people than I have some theories. But even they're kind of going, gee, I don't know. We're scratching our head. Maybe he's really making sure that this thing's going to stick. But we did have a development the other day. The Giffords group, which is an anti-gun group named after Gabby Giffords. Firearms Policy Coalition announced the judge in our lawsuit challenging California's assault weapon ban denied Giffords' motion to file an amicus brief today. You can learn more by clicking here, et cetera, et cetera. So the Giffords Center said, hey, we want to do an amicus brief, which basically means we want to weigh in on this. We want to put our opinion in on this. And the judge said, nope, there's no need for that. There's absolutely no need for that, which I hesitate to get too excited. I never want to count chickens before the eggs hatch, but I think that's a good sign. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, if the judge says no, thanks for your efforts, but no thanks.
Yeah,
I think we're moving in the right direction, especially with Judge Benitez.
I think so too. Alicia, are you excited?
Absolutely.
What are you going to do? Let's say it's finalized. Assault weapons ban gone. What's the first thing you do?
Take off that fin.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus, take off the fin.
Take off that fin. It's there. So some of these features that they implemented as part of this and the assault weapons it has made so many of these ARs now, in my opinion, unsafe. The way that you the way to be compliant with the law, you have to separate and break your upper and your lower. Well, depending on the mechanism in which you do it, you actually have not rendered your your firing pin inactive, and some of them actually can still fire while you're breaking that action. That fin, unless you have an ambidextrous safety, actually makes it more challenging and depending on your configuration, unsafe. You can't engage that safety in a reasonable fashion. Trying to disengage it, you have to kind of fumble at some point. And so some of these features have actually had the opposite effect, made them so unsafe.
It's
and frustrating.
The folks like Juggernaut Tactical and those guys that have come up with the different mechanisms that make it easier, which the state of California hates, that makes it easier to separate your firearm. They've actually made it safer. It's the state of California that made it unsafe. It's like you take somebody who's not an armorer, who doesn't know the inside of the guts of a gun, and say, okay, now you're going to separate your gun like it was intended. Now you're gonna put your sweaty hands all over some very intricate, detailed mechanisms that you should have no business touching.
I agree. I think that I had a fin on mine for a while. The thumb shelf made a big difference for me, made it better, and of course the ambi safety. Which I think they had to like install it upside down or something like that, or so that it was so you could hit it with your thumb, and such a dumb charade.
It forces people to get creative, and the creative people are going to find a workaround. It's let it be as it's intended to be. Let it be safe. Let it be functional. By creating a desire for people that need to kind of find these workarounds, you're creating some unsafe conditions. And
well, I thought it was interesting. I don't know why some anti-gun group this late in the game would try to weigh in on this. I don't know. Kind of ridiculous.
Fundraising.
Yeah, I'll bet you're right.
Yeah.
Dave, once we get this thing struck down, are we buying you an AR? You and me?
They're going to appeal it.
Well, of course they are.
I think they are. I mean, once it's final.
If I'm still here. Do you know how long? I mean, these people are dead set, right or wrong, to make every gun go away. So no matter, we go 2 steps forward, they push us 3 back. You go 2 steps forward because they've got a lot of people in government that are on their side.
I agree. The only thing is, it really does feel like, there were a lot of things leading up to Bruin. There's been a kind of a flurry of activity, not just legally, but politically. And I proudly count San Diego County gun owners as part of that. But it feels like since Bruin, it's 2 steps forward for us, 1 step back. Where like you said, it was definitely a step forward, 2 steps back. But it really does feel like, and it seems like things are going. I tell people for the first time in 15 years, I feel like I can see a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train.
So let me ask you this, because I'm not a legal scholar. How many times can they appeal it before they can't appeal anymore?
Well, that's a good question. So, and the answer is it kind of depends on the path it goes. But the definitive answer is if it gets back up into the Supreme Court and they have to weigh in on it, that's it.
Then that's it.
Supreme Court, done.
Okay.
So it depends on,
They don't have to. They can't go to another jurisdiction because it's, this one didn't work, so let's go over here to this one, or let's go over here to this one, because we got 50 states.
Right. No, I once it gets up to that Supreme Court, done. And I don't know. What I don't know is, the Supreme Court already said, hey, that Miller case, take another look. So I don't think it's a matter of, it's not like it's a fresh new case.
Right.
They're already aware of it. They already said, hey, take another look.
So in other words, if they appeal it, goes to Supreme Court and said, you didn't do anything. It's the same thing.
My thought is, and I'm not a legal scholar either, but once the next decision comes out,
it's done.
I think that the Supreme Court will have their back, and then that'll be that. So we'll see, though.
Yeah. Hey, the fight for the Second Amendment is always happening in Orange County and Inland Empire. Orange County gun owners and Inland Empire gun owners lead the fight on the city and county level to defend and protect your self-defense rights. How do they do it? They do it by fundraising, getting local pro-gun candidates elected. So you need to help and become a member today. Go to iegunowners.com/join, or if you're in Orange County, that's ocgunowners.com/join. And join the growing number of responsible gun owners stepping up to defend our Second Amendment rights. That's iegunowners.com or ocgunowners.com.
All right, everybody, subscribe and win. Let's talk about who won what here. So if you subscribe to our email list, you could win some cool swag. This week's winner is Robert, I think that's Krohn, K-R-O-H-N. Is that how you pronounce that?
Sounds good to me.
Congratulations, Robert. Email prizes at gunownersradio.com to claim your T-shirt or hat. I'd go with hat, Robert. I like our hats. I got to tell you. My big noggin. Still, it fits. Free training for members. Enter to win free intro to firearms class from Stronghold Dynamic. All you got to do is sign up at gunownersradio.com/training for members. That's training, the number 4 members. Oh, we got a winner. This is the big winner. We've been talking about this for a week, so we actually got a winner. So I guess you can still sign up. I got to talk to Rich about that. But here's the winner. Congratulations to winner Jerry Marcus. You win a free intro to firearms class. Yeah, from Stronghold Dynamic. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations, Jerry. All you got to do is email prizes at gunownersradio.com to claim your prize, or I'm sure Rich will reach out to you. So, again, everybody, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, go to gunprom.com. Get your tickets. Gunprom.com is the Second Amendment Celebration Dinner. We've been doing it every year for, I think this is the 7th in 8 years, because COVID screwed everything up. That's going to, the compulsive part of me, that's going to drive me nuts for the rest of my career. That we've been in business for a certain amount of years, but we've had one fewer than that gun prom. It's going to drive me absolutely batty for the rest of my career.
2 next year?
Yeah, maybe we just do 2. It's not, Alicia, not a bad idea.
All right.
Not a bad idea. Anyway, Gun Prom, Second Amendment Celebration Dinner. We're going to have like 600 plus people there, 700 people there. Not quite sure. We're still getting tickets sold. If you want to sponsor a table, a champagne table is $3,000, and that comes with a huge package of opportunity tickets, and it comes with champagne. It comes with an emphasis on advertising. Whoever you are, whatever your business is, whatever your logo is. And it comes with a nice special gift for all your 8 guests at the table. So by all means, if you're looking to make a splash, if you're really looking to reach out to the gun owner world, get a champagne table. Wine table, also a table of 8. That is $1,600, and it comes with wine. You get mentioned, but the mention isn't as big as the champagne table. And still fun, food, folks, all kinds of cool stuff. Or an individual ticket is $150, and that comes with a $50 opportunity package, a ticket package, I should say. So we're gonna have a bunch of guns. You're gonna get to see some really, really cool guns. Gunfighter Tactical always blows it out of the water. Mm-hmm. This year they showed me a KSG, a Kel-Tec KSG, which is the cool 2 ammo tube, 12 gauge shotgun, bullpup shotgun. Mm-hmm. I love my KSG. In fact, I bought my KSG from Gunfighter Tactical. They customized it all out. It's red, white, and blue, and it's got a San Diego County Gun Owners logo on it.
Nice.
Yeah, those guys are the absolute best. And then a bunch of others. There's going to be a bunch of other guns, which I'm always really, really touched by that people do that. We're going to have our silent auction. Mike Ivey always brings all kinds of cool stuff. The sports memorabilia, the movie memorabilia, always big. I kind of like, even if you're not going to bid on anything, it's kind of cool to see that stuff.
Yeah.
And he rotates it in, so you get to see stuff all throughout. It's almost like a little mini museum at Gun Prom. And then of course we're going to have the live auction. Live auction should be really, really cool. Scott Sherman, who is he ran for mayor. He was on the city council in San Diego. Such a good guy. Universally liked, good, solid Second Amendment dude. He's got what's the 30 caliber that runs through a 30 caliber carbine? You remember? It's like a 30. Anyway, whatever that round is that runs through the carbine, the 30 caliber carbine, the World War II, M1A carbine. It's like this little tiny 30 caliber. It looks like a little tube of lipstick. He's got a revolver that runs a 30 caliber revolver. Cool. Yeah. Scott Sherman, great guy. He's one of the many auction items. We're going to live auction him off. He's got a beautiful boat. He's going to take whoever the winner is tuna fishing. So you get to go out in the ocean with Scott, and you're going to bring home some beautiful fish. I think he'll even help you clean it. Anyway, thank you, Scott Sherman. He's also a table sponsor and just a really, really good dude. We have an African safari. We have a South American fishing trip on the Black River, a dove trip also close to Black River in South America. I think we're going to do a Kentucky bourbon tour. All kinds of cool stuff. You're going to get to what you could take over Gun Owners Radio. Anyway, the live auction is going to be very, very cool. You get to jump out of a plane with a SEAL or a SWCC guy. I think it includes the parachute. You might have to pay extra, but at least you get to jump out of the plane. So that should be really, really cool. I'm trying to think what else. Anyway, so gunprom.com. Go to gunprom.com, September 16th. Join us. It should be a very, very good time. So everybody's got their tickets, right? Dave bought a table because you're awesome. And Mike, we were talking about how you're a table sponsor. Alicia, you got your tickets, right?
Working with Desi. Yep.
Working with Desi. I got to get my tickets. Pretty sure they won't let me in without a ticket. So anyway, should be a good time.
It'll be fun.
This isn't your first, is it, Mike?
No, sir.
You went last year.
Yes, sir. Went last two iterations.
Oh, nice. How do we do?
Good, man. It was awesome. I mean, the reality is it's worth the price of admission just to walk around and look at the cool swag, man, that you can get in all the raffle prizes and everything. Man, oh man.
So you're a political guy.
Yeah.
In a former life, you were a political dude.
Yep.
And you're a gun guy.
Yep. Poli-sci undergrad, and then worked in the state senate for about 12 years.
So you went to your fair share of rubber chicken dinners, political dinners, right?
Yeah, sadly, yes.
And you've probably gone to a number of gun dinners, like fundraising for
sure. Yeah.
I tried to make this dinner halfway in between with the best parts of both, because some of those political dinners, man, I mean, it were so boring.
Painful.
Painfully boring, but still classy and nice and, respectable. And some of the gun dinners a little too carnival, So I tried to hit like a middle ground, like a sweet spot. Did I mission accomplished, or what do you think?
Yeah. It was good compared to political events and gun events. Yeah, man, top tier on comparing it to those. Now you're not setting the bar real high. You got to compare it to something that's a little bit better quality. But yeah, no, gun proms are awesome. You guys, if you guys haven't been, make this your first gun prom. It's a real cool event.
You're gonna have fun, and it's a good date night.
Yeah, for sure.
Your wife's bringing you, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's awesome. Are you bringing the hubs?
I'm going to bring him. He'll be there.
Good.
Yeah.
Then it's a party.
It's a party.
Awesome. All right. Well, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to again, gunprom.com. I think it's time for a commercial, Dave.
You got it. Hey, is there a better tool that empowers a woman to defend against an attacker that's bigger and stronger? Well, that's why it's so important for women to learn how to defend themselves with the most effective self-defense tool ever invented. For women led by women, the Not Me program is designed to help with training, purchasing a gun, and getting a concealed carry permit. And guess what? It's free. To sign up, go to notmesd.org. Sheriff Collander's daughter is going to reach out to Desi.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sheriff Collander's daughter. How'd that happen?
Met her at KUSI.
Yeah.
And
what was she talking about?
She's got a program that she's doing that I didn't get a chance to listen to it, but
Connor unfortunately passed away a few years ago.
Yeah, she's really upset that she wanted her dad's gun.
Oh, really?
And somehow they lost it.
They lost his gun, his service gun? Oh.
So you know somebody stole it.
I know.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
She's not a happy camper. But she was very excited about the Not Me program, so.
Well, that's fantastic. Well,
she was bragging that she shoots. No, I said, but you haven't been to the Not Me program.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the Not Me, I had an interesting case that came across my as an ambassador, something that came across me, and I didn't realize that, and I actually have had it come up twice, which made, once it could be a fluke. Two, I'm like, you know what, we need to say something. So women who, as part of the application process, and men or women, this applies across the board. As part of that application process, you do have to disclose contact with law enforcement, right? Your auto accidents, your tickets, you have to kind of disclose. And I've had this come up, like I said, now twice. Women that hesitated did not put in their application because that question scared them off. They both had been victims of domestic violence. They were the victim. And they feared that disclosing that would make them ineligible to get their permit. And that never would have crossed my mind as something that would hold somebody back. But for them, they thought that they wouldn't be approved. And and it was great. I'm glad that they reached out through not me, and then that I was able to come across them and through a conversation. Even if we were still before pre-Bruin, that right there would be fuel for you to be front of the line.
Right.
It doesn't work against you. So if you're out there, man or woman doesn't matter. If you've been the victim of a crime and that question has kind of pushed you off or made you think that you're uncomfortable with the process, don't be.
Education.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome. So they move forward, both of them?
Yep. They both put in their application. Yep.
Yeah, that's a reason to get your CCW.
Absolutely.
Not a reason to deny somebody.
And it didn't occur to me that somebody would be put off by that when they are on that side of a situation. And for them, they were.
Well, for the most part, with the background check, the way it works basically in all of California now is if you can legally own the gun, you're going to be able to pass the background check. I can't guarantee that in every single situation, but for the most part, that's the message, and that's what we're seeing in practice. If someone can legally own the gun, if they can go to a store, pass the background check there, buy the gun, own the gun legally, they should be able to pass the background check with CCWs. The only kind of exception is if you lie.
Right.
If you lie and don't, or some, a lie of omission is the same as a lie too. So if you don't tell them X, Y, and Z, or you withhold information like that, then you may not pass the background check.
One of the sheriffs explained it to me the best, that topic exactly is if you had something that happened 20, 25, 30 years ago and you don't talk about it and there was no record, there's no issues, then you possibly did something 20 to 25 years ago. If you lie about it or omit it today, you're a liar today. And that speaks to your character, is how it's been mentioned to me from a couple sheriffs.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. I know there have been a couple of situations where somebody, it was kind of one of these, well, I didn't know they wanted to know about that, you know? And so the rule of thumb I've come up with is if you've had any official interaction with courts or law enforcement at any time in your whole life, disclose.
Right.
And then usually when I say that, I'm in front of a class, and then somebody you can kind of see someone like starting to put their hand up, and then I say, and if anyone asks me, well, what about this specific situation? I'm going to tell you yes. If you are asking me about it, then they're going to want to know about it.
And also too, a tip is that when you do that application, there's an opportunity to upload a document. If you feel that you are wanting to kind of get in front of it, there's an opportunity for you to do a quick write-up to explain and to include that as part of your application should you choose to.
I had a really cool experience actually last week. Desi and I, this is not me experience. There's an organization actually that I patterned San Diego County gun owners after in a lot of ways. I took a little bit from a few different organizations, but I took a lot from an organization called the Lincoln Club, which is also a PAC. But Lincoln Club is not Second Amendment. They are like a business, right? Business.
Rich Republicans.
Yeah, rich Republicans. And usually they're rich because they owned a business. So it's kind of taxes and business regulation is kind of their emphasis. But like you said, it's just rich Republicans. They put their money. But they also they decided, hey, as an organization, we want to benefit some 501c3s, some charities, which there is, Not Me California is a 501c3. So we were nominated and voted unanimously to be included in this this event that they had. And I think we were one of 8 eight groups that got voted in. And there were a lot of really cool groups. We got to go to the Valley High, and we set up a table, and then it was something like 75 of their members came and basically went around and, spoke to each, hey, what do you do? Give me your elevator speech. And they had some really amazing charities there. There were charities that benefited, homeless and some others. It was really amazing. And to be totally frank, I never know how this is going to go over. I never know how Not Me is going to go over with the general public, I guess, because it's guns, number one. Number two, it's very direct. We're not giving away rape whistles. You know what I mean? And we're not, some best practices are, no, if you're a woman and, in order to combat sexual assault and domestic violence, if you're a woman, mainly if you're a woman, we will, find a woman who's a trained volunteer, and she will help you get training, she will help you get a gun, and she will help you get a permit. That's pretty no nonsense. Right. So I never really quite know how that's going to go over with the general public. They loved it. Everybody that came by was like, oh, wow. Kind of this, like, all right, what's this all about? And then when we explained the intricacies like I just did, it was kind of this, oh, wow, all right, yeah, and not a single, everybody was interested. Everybody thought it was great. Everybody, thought it was wonderful, wanted to know more, sign up, my wife, my whoever, my sister, he needs to be a part of this. So it was cool. It's nice to be, in a group like that and not be the, the redheaded stepchild. So it was cool. It was very cool.
There's so much about it. It's you're strengthening, you're encouraging, and you're protecting. And really, what is the drawback? What is the negative to that? We're not giving away guns irresponsibly, right? We're encouraging women to go out to protect themselves, to defend themselves, to be trained appropriately and properly, and to fit them to the right gun that's right for them. And there is no drawback. What could they say?
There's no drawback.
It's nice to ask people who oppose something like that to say if you have an aggressor who can out bench press their victim 3-1, what would your solution be? 911 on speed dial, or what other option would you come up with? And all I hear is, well, I don't know, just not guns.
Yeah.
Doesn't work for
the myth I hear a lot is, well, you're more likely to kill somebody you're in a relationship with. And you know where that comes from? I actually learned it's a myth. It's not accurate what they're saying. The way they're explaining it, it sounds like that if a woman purchases a firearm, then it increases the likelihood, and not only does it increase the likelihood, there is a strong likelihood that firearm will be used against her by a boyfriend, right? When you hear that myth, that seems to be what they're implying. John Lott, who's an economist, you guys know, we all know who John Lott is.
Awesome guy.
Yeah, more guns, less crime, right? Studied that, and what he found out was it started by it originated from the way the FBI report records crime, and what he found was that this huge percentage of people who were killed with a gun had a relationship with the person who shot the gun. Okay, that seems to support the myth, Mike. Well, they were in a relationship, just like they said. Well, the way they define relationship is extremely broad. And the example that Lott uses is if you jump into a cab, okay, and you say, hey, take me to 45th and B Street, for here's $20, you're in a relationship. You now have a financial relationship. There's a customer relationship there. So if you decide, hey, I'm gonna rob this taxi cab driver, that's the whole purpose for me getting into the cab, then, and you shoot this cab driver, you've now shot somebody you're in a relationship with. So that's where that myth came from, is the way that, and for the FBI, defining it that way was useful for whatever reason. But what they've done is they've used it to further their political agenda rather than, try to keep people safe.
So anything other than someone jumping out of a dark alley and crime of opportunity.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So that's where that came from. So usually they cite something if there is any pushback, it's usually some kind of myth like that somehow having a firearm will make the situation more dangerous for the victim, or will make the situation more complex rather than make it empowering for the victim and make the situation, it'll level the playing field. So there you go. How about that? How about that for interesting? So I think what we're going to do is we're headed towards a break, but we're going to talk about the biker bar shooting that happened in Orange County. Dave, you said you're familiar with the biker bar. We want to hear about what the biker bar a little bit, and then we're going to talk about the story, and then see if we can learn some things from it.
Hey, a lot of companies waste an enormous amount of money on marketing. The design is excellent, the photos are beautiful, but your website just is looking great, but it's just not getting customers. Why? Because you don't have the words that make people buy. So, but now you can fix that with Sage Tree. Sage Tree can help you find the words that make it easy for your customers to understand what to do and how to buy from you. Stop wasting money today and schedule a call. Getting started is real easy. Visit sagetree.com, click on the schedule an appointment button, that's sagetree.com, and click on that schedule a call button.
I just read the funniest tweet. This has nothing to do with guns, but you guys want to hear it?
Sure.
Of course.
So, unfortunately, we all know who Bob Barker is.
Yes.
Sadly, he passed away, but long life. What a great guy. Great sense of humor. Great dude. Great career. Passed away at 99. You all heard of that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So here's the tweet. I don't know who this guy is, so I'm not going to give him any credit, but it says, I cannot believe Bob Barker lived as close to 100 as possible without going over.
That is good.
I have a feeling Bob would laugh at that hardest. Okay, so what 2 days ago there was a shooting at a biker bar. Tell us about this biker bar, Dave.
Well, it's world famous, actually. I mean, and it's called Cook's Corner, and it's where four roads come together, and a lot of biker clubs use that as a rendezvous before they head out into the desert or the mountains or what have you. Never really had a problem. It's kind of a neutral zone.
Neutral ground for bikers.
But thanks to Alicia, who did some serious research, it really had nothing to do with the biking community.
So let's talk about it. So what there was
community.
There was a shooting over and there was a shooting at this bar. Well, it was 2 days ago, right? I think it happened. What, Friday? Maybe 3 days ago.
Yeah, 4 days ago.
Yeah.
3-4 days ago, there was a shooting, and talk about what happened.
And that's during the week when Cook's is not that busy, because Cook's is a weekend gathering.
Yeah.
So that's important to know that it's not like everybody was getting together.
And you said it's in like East Orange County?
Yeah, it's right off Lake Forest. Take Lake Forest off the 5 and head east.
Oh, wow.
You can't miss it. It's a humongous big white building. It's called Cook's Corner.
I wonder how a biker bar, and it's been there for forever?
Been there forever.
I don't really think of biker bars. Like Lake Forest is kind of a nice little area.
But you got to head. I just say you
out.
take the exit and head east. Yeah.
Gotcha. So what happened? Give us a little
rundown there, Alicia.
So it occurred on the 24th.
Yep.
So we have a retired police sergeant who had been estranged from his wife. It looks like he had relocated, I believe, to Ohio. And it just the articles that I'm finding state that he traveled from Ohio to where he and his wife had resided and located his wife in this bar. It said she had a companion with her in the bar, which of course we all assumed would be a male. But however, lower down in the article, it does state that it was a woman. So she was at this bar with a companion, and he went in, and first thing he did is he shot his estranged wife in the face.
Jeez. Okay, so a retired cop, not
Correct.
a biker.
Correct. Well, but
Well, maybe.
Could have been a biker.
could have been.
Could have
That'd
been.
be
Doesn't
weird.
state.
We were for a guy to retire as a cop and then go become a biker.
Well,
Stranger
there's a
things
lot
have
of
happened.
motor officers. There's lots of motor officers.
Oh, okay. So he could have been a biker,
on-
but maybe
and
not
the-
a bike gang.
Not an
guy.
outlaw biker.
Okay.
Because my dad was a Hell's Angel and became a biker.
I think or became a cop.
Or became a cop.
He was a
I'm
Hell's
sorry.
Angel. I think that's
he
fascinating.
Became, he became a cop. So and motorcycles are motorcycles, just like
Right.
guns are guns are guns. I mean, you never see shooting them.
Okay, so his estranged wife, which means they weren't yet divorced, but
Correct.
they were no longer together.
But
Correct.
her partner, her companion was a female.
Lower in the article, it does state that the companion was a female. I just thought it was interesting that
So she
the
may
opening
not
line,
have been with another man.
It doesn't sound like it, but I just found it was interesting that way that the verbiage was laid out in this article. What their relationship is not clear. So he had worked for the Ventura department, and he traveled, shot her in the face, and then he had come in with 2 handguns. He went out to his vehicle to retrieve 2 more. He got 1 additional handgun and a shotgun. And there was a gentleman who approached him as he was attempting to get more guns from the car, and that gentleman was shot as well.
Jeez.
And so
Total stranger, this guy?
It appears so.
Well, this is a level of anger,
right,
that's really got some deep-seated issues.
Mm-hmm.
So there's way more to this story, but now we don't know who shot him.
He was shot by law enforcement who responded. So he put off a number of rounds in the bar. It doesn't state how many rounds, at least not that I can find. The companion to his wife was shot and killed as well. A number of other people in the bar were shot. I believe it was up to 6.
Well, if you figure you take 2 pistols and a shotgun to the bar, and you have to go out and get more.
Yeah.
So that's not just, I caught you with another man, and I shot you.
Yeah, the wife, it says she filed for divorce back in December. So clearly there were some issues. He was...
And they have kids.
Yeah, they do have
so
2 adult grown children. 2 adult grown children, correct. So, I mean, the carnage by no means is... Would I say that 3 dead and 6 wounded is a good outcome? But given the firepower that he had, and I would imagine the skills that he should have had as law enforcement, he shouldn't be.
Yeah,
and I mean,
despite being a cop,
correct.
And the bar, as you probably would imagine,
a packed place with people,
packed with nobody carrying a gun.
Right. It doesn't state if he was using buckbird or slug, but a shotgun in a packed, tight room. Imagine the carnage, potential.
God. So let's go over it, because Dave, you brought up a good point off the air. The waiting period. Obviously, there was no cooling down period. He didn't. So that didn't. He
had to cool from Ohio to California.
Yeah, that didn't work.
That didn't work. It is illegal for anyone to carry in a bar, unless he's current law enforcement, which he isn't. But if you're a CCW person, or even if you're not a CCW person, it is not legal to carry in a bar at all.
Correct.
So he carried in a bar. That didn't help. Mm-hmm. All it did was prevent anybody that maybe could have defended themselves from defending themselves.
Correct.
So
it was a rage. There had to be a rage.
Absolutely.
Of some kind. Whether we find out about it, I don't know. Not to change the subject, did you hear about the bakery that refused to serve a police officer coffee while in uniform?
No.
Wow.
Why?
Because the bakery stated that their company policy was they will never serve anybody in uniform that carries a gun. So
it was the gun part, not the uniform part.
But their business model says in a uniform and carrying a gun. So you have to be. I mean, if you just went in a uniform, they'd probably be fine.
I hope they don't get robbed anytime soon.
Right.
I hope they do.
And that's the other thing is.
Well, think of those bakeries that had a hard time that wouldn't make cakes for like LB. Right. And look at the backlash that they received. And I've never even heard of this that you're talking about.
Well, they're saying, okay, well, that's fine. Oh, they said, but if he comes in his street clothes, and all he wanted was a cup of coffee because he was working a double shift because they have no police in that town. So he was working overtime. And so now they're saying, okay, do you have that posted someplace? Because it says, I have the right to refuse service, da-da-da-da. They had none of the above.
And that's why you're seeing police departments and sheriffs all over the country having difficult times getting cops to even apply.
Yeah.
And cops are taking early retirement. And why do you want to get in an industry
and they
like
don't
that
understand it. It's just like, why don't they come to work for us? We're going to pay them. Well, yeah, but you don't crap on somebody and pay them $40,000 a year and expect them to be happy.
Yeah, the people who are supposed to be appreciative of your services are crapping all over you.
Well, and broadly, I mean, it sounds more like a gun thing. They're like a version
because they didn't want a gun in there.
It's ridiculous.
No. He didn't buy a donut. He just bought a cup of coffee. That's all he wanted was a cup of coffee.
This country is not helping.
Insane.
This whole weirdness towards guns and gun owners.
Well, they're getting a backlash like nobody's business.
Well, to Mike's point, who's going to come to their rescue?
Well, they're getting the town has got a backlash against this bakery that is going crazy.
Really? What are they doing?
Well, they're just
They're zero business.
zero business. And then I don't know if this is. I won't even go into that. That's totally different.
No.
Well, no,
and then our politicians and our talking heads are not making it any easier, frankly, on all sides.
Yeah.
I mean, back to the biker bar thing, you would think that our Governor Newsom is going to come out. Maybe he said some things about the family and talked about how it was a sad occasion, but you're never going to find an anti-gun politician who's not going to see a situation like this and use it as an opportunity to not support Rays for their cause and to advance their policy. So, of course, what did Newsom do when he came out of, after the biker bar situation? Is Newsom comes out and says, "Well, clearly we need more red flag laws." That's what.
Oh, he did come out and say that?
That's what would have solved this. Is we had more red flag laws, and of course, no one has responded. He's an ex-cop. What about his life is going to trigger any sort of red flag?
That doesn't already exist.
Even regardless of the fact that it's an awful policy, but your answer is more red flag laws against someone who has an impeccable background.
Yeah.
What is it you expect to occur? And so you have scumbags like this who are going to try to raise support and advance policy off of the sad death of an individual.
But again, what is the background? There's not many police officers that would do what this guy did. There's got to be something at the bottom of this that we don't know anything about that triggered this, coming from Ohio. You know, literally going in, emptying his weapons, going back to the truck to get more weapons or ammo. It's mental illness maybe.
Emotions
did he state what red flag law addition would be beneficial?
It's a good question, because
what is there that they don't already have that would have flagged
the wife's in California?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, she could have red flagged him. I mean, it's not like it wasn't there for her to do.
But she didn't do anything either. She probably didn't even see the problem.
I think you're probably right.
We have tools and resources to support
Alicia's
you.
job. I just want you to know that. So you're a deep, you know what? Just thought I'd let you know.
Newsom says our state's red flag laws allow victims, family members, coworkers, and others to work with local law enforcement and the courts to safely remove guns from those who have a potential threat. How do you know that this guy's a potential threat?
Yeah.
But that's what I mean is what.
He doesn't even live here.
I do wish that folks that were on our side or believed in what we believe in philosophically would
step up
and make their own statement every time somebody like, hey, a good guy with a gun saved the day. I mean,
politicians don't even do it. Have you ever heard of a politician stand up for somebody one way or the other?
Well, not enough. We don't get the press conference. You know what I mean? We don't get our side. The other side holds press conferences at the drop of
in a heartbeat.
The pro gun guys in situations like this, their answer is let's stay quiet for a week. Yeah, and that's the worst time to stay quiet.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, that's the time where you need to stand up and you need to come back with the vitriol that they're coming back with, saying no law would have protected this. No law would have prevented this from occurring.
But see, they don't want to be canceled.
Yeah.
If that happens, then all of a sudden, the minute somebody says that, then the left will go after them with everything they have.
Yeah,
and that could ruin their career.
During the very rare occurrence where you do have school shootings and that kind of thing, statistically rare occurrences, you get a lot of the national gun groups and a lot of the pro 2A legislators dead silent.
Right. Well, and that's what I mean. I mean, there was just a headline. I think it was guys like AWR Hawkins. Put it out there. I don't know if USA Today or ABC News talked about it. Where a woman defended herself with a firearm, and why aren't our supposedly pro Second Amendment Republican elected officials? Why wasn't that a press conference? Hey, look, guys, check out what happened. Look, everybody. Draw everybody's attention to this. This is an important story. We support the Second Amendment. Let's get this into the public media. We never do that. They do it at the drop of a hat. I mean, Newsom, whatever. They're getting their message out. And I wish the folks who were on our side would use media more aggressively.
Yeah, you're starting to see more and more on social media. I'd say really only in the last 3 or 4 years, where you're seeing a lot of the Pro 2A organizations, whenever there is a case of granny shoots scumbag who comes in the door or something like that,
right,
that they get that story out there. And if you're subscribed to social media, if you follow social media, you'll come across that, but you don't hear it in the news.
No, you never hear it in the news. You won't even hear it on the conservative side.
You hear it here.
Gun prom tickets, folks. They're on sale. Join San Diego County gun owners and the rest of the Second Amendment community at the Town and Country in Mission Valley. Get your fancy suit, your dresses, whatever you're wearing, and join us with like-minded people that believe in the Second Amendment and self-defense. Second Amendment dinner is coming up, and we're calling it Gun Prom, Second Amendment dinner. It's called Gun Prom. Come on down. Have some fun. September 16th. Get your tickets. Reserve your spot for a night with great people, great food, drinks for all good, great causes. You need to go to gunprom.com to get your tickets. Buy a table. Bring your friends and family. That's gunprom.com and buy your tickets today. You don't even have to be a shooter to come down and have more fun than you can imagine. There's trips, there's memorabilia, and there's some really, really nice people.
Yeah, we're going to have a virtual screen where people can. Did you do that last year, Mike?
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. I actually I take my students down to Oceanside all the time and go to Shore Shot to do that. It's a really neat training tool.
With Phil?
Yeah, Phil's awesome.
Phil is a good dude. I wonder if he's going to Gun Prom. I'm going to look that up. Make sure. Phil, if you're listening, we need to get you to Gun Prom, man. It's just not a party without you. So let's get, I'll make sure to do that. Okay, time for everybody's favorite segment, Sam the Gunman, Stump My Nephew. Found out that Sam is extremely good at gun trivia, so if you send us a gun trivia question and we use it on the air, you get a hat or a shirt. And if you stump my nephew, you'll get a couple tickets to Gun Prom, but good luck doing that. I think actually we got him stumped last week. It was the first time in a long time.
Did.
It was a good question, though, too. You actually did really, really well. Sam, you there?
Yeah, how are you guys?
Good, dude. How are you?
Not bad. Can't complain.
All right, fair enough.
I think he's going to redeem himself this week.
All right, I hope so. Okay, so Mike Pettengill, Senor, you're going to read the question?
Let's do it.
All right, fire away.
All right, Sam. A from Imperial Beach, his name is A. A from Imperial Beach asks, what is the difference in ballistics between 277 Fury, 6.8 Common Cartridge, and 6.8 Western, other than the different manufacturers, SIGs, U.S. government, and Winchester?
What was that? A from Imperial Beach?
Yes.
Thanks very much for writing in. The question was, what is the difference, other than manufacturers, what is the difference in ballistics between 277 Fury, 6.8 Common Cartridge, and 6.8 Western? 277 Fury is the civilian designation for the 6.8 millimeter round that Sig Sauer developed in collaboration with, I think, True Velocity, but I may be mistaken, for the NGSW program. And if I understand correctly, and I may be a little bit off on this, but if I understand correctly, the first two are the same round. 277 Fury is the designation for the civilian market, and that's what the SAMI spec is listed as. And 6.8 Common Cartridge is the government military designation, because there's no need to have a snappy trademark name for that purpose. Snappy. Whereas 6.8 Western is a more of a hunting-oriented round, and is designed to produce. Again, I may be off on this because I don't keep up on hunting cartridges really because I don't hunt. But I believe the intent with 6.8 Western was to achieve roughly similar performance, or roughly that same level of performance. But because it does not use the hybrid case, it uses a physically larger case.
So before you go in there, hold on a sec here. So the question is kind of confusing because it says, what is the difference in ballistics between the three? And then it adds, other than different manufacturers. That's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, you could just take out that ballistics.
Take out take out the manufacturer's part. All they're asking is, what is the difference in ballistics between .277 Fury, 6.8 Common, and 6.8 Western? So
Well, at that point, it's kind of a trick question because there are different loadings of 6.8 Common Cartridge. There's a high velocity loading designed for.
wait, but now you're getting too smart. So
Think
use algebra.
dumb.
Use algebra on this thing. Okay.
Well, okay. I
Point
don't
two-
have a pen and paper to hand, but I can tell you that if we're leaving out the high velocity armor piercing loads, they all have basically the same ballistics.
What's the answer?
And that is basically correct. Of course, Sam, as usual, Sam, I'm a big fan, by the way. As usual, Sam goes way above, and Sam is too ethereal for these questions. The answer is
even the when he was making his guesses.
Yeah.
he was right.
You were right. You were right.
always
You're talking above us as usual, Sam. So basically, Mike shortened it up perfectly. What is the difference between in ballistics between the 277 Fury, the 6.8 Common Cartridge, and the 6.8 Western? And the answer provided is none. Goes on to say the 277 was developed in conjunction with the U.S. government and SIG, and that's what became the Common Cartridge that is replacing the 5.56. Winchester developed the 6.8 Western for the civilian market. It boils down to loads, primers, and projectiles. Just like Sam said, 6.8 Western is an all-around hunting round.
There you go.
There you
3
go.
cartridges. So he wanted to know what was the difference between A, B, and C, and
answer
A
is-
and B are equal.
Yep.
So
there you go.
C, A is equal to A and B. Look at that. I think I got like a C minus in math, too.
All right. Hey, Sam, did we have this? I think we may have had this conversation. Have you seen any of the John Wick movies?
I have not. It's funny you should ask that because when I worked at the shop, occasionally customers would come in and go, "Oh, I want the gun from John Wick," and I would go, "I haven't seen it," and they would go, "No, the first John Wick," and I would go, "I haven't seen that one either."
Okay. So yesterday it was like 90 degrees, so I binged 1, 2, and 3. You have to watch at least 3. And when
I understand Keanu Reeves got some really high caliber,
Dude.
if you'll pardon the pun, training on 3-gun type shooting, and he really learned how to perform at that level.
Yeah, I mean, you can go turn on your TV. I don't know what series you have, but you can just voice it in there, and you can rent it like for $3.99, and there's no commercials. And I'm serious. I thought about you, not so much in 1, but in 3, when he goes into the Continental. They had an armory, and the guy, I mean, he was saying stuff I didn't even know what they were talking about. But if you get a chance, and I hardly can see you doing nothing, but if you have an afternoon and you're not doing anything, I highly recommend it. It's because I did think about you, because it'll make you look at all those weapons, and that could be a question here on radio. So you might want to think about it.
A little study. Yeah.
Have
Do a
you
little-
seen it?
little study. I haven't seen any of them.
Jeez Louise. Have you
I
seen
know,
any
is
of
that-
them?
What is up with this family?
Dude, I mean,
I've seen them all.
I've seen them all. In fact, I've
Several
seen
times.
One, yes, I was just going to say. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to watch number 4.
Here's an
There are
interesting.
4?
Yeah, 4
Yeah.
just came out. Here's an interesting factoid that just came out after the Alec Baldwin Rust shooting. Was that the John Wick people said that they have no live ammo on set, and that 100% of the discharges of their
Yeah.
firearms is all CGI.
Well, let me tell you what. Whoever's doing the CGI
Oh yeah, that's great stuff.
and the blood splatter is off the charts.
Yeah. Sam, their ballistics work and their loading. Some of it's a
amazing.
little geeky and goofy.
Well, he throws a magazine in, and it's like a 30, and he fires it 4 times, pulls it out, turns it around, puts the other one in, fires it 6 times, pulls it out, throws it away, kills a guy, takes it off of him. By the way, do every single clip fit every single
Mag.
gun
It's not a clip.
magazine.
or magazine?
No.
Well,
Not even close.
John will argue it.
Might have made it happen. I just saw an interview with one of the I don't know if it was the armor or an instructor. I know he worked with what's his name,
Taron Butler.
Yeah, I know he worked with him, but it wasn't him. But it was somebody that trained him or worked with him on the set, who said he basically invented the mag flip.
Oh, the flip out to the right
Yeah,
side.
the flip out to the right
Yeah.
side. He was like, pretty much that was Keanu just came up with that, and now competitive guys are doing that. Is that true?
I don't know. I haven't heard that.
You ever heard that?
Not
I know. I get Alicia. If you do too, it's funny. I get people all the time. So can you teach me that mag flip out to the right side? I'm like, let me teach you something more efficient. Yeah.
I have yet to be asked that.
You know why I didn't watch it? You know why I haven't seen it, Dave? Because I heard that they kick it off with
There's a dog.
yeah, somebody kills a
yeah.
dog.
No.
I'm like, I'm
That's
done. I
that's
can't watch that.
one.
Yeah.
And
Do you
two.
not-
And two.
They kill a dog in two.
No,
too?
they didn't
Yeah.
kill a dog in two.
Well, it
Well-
heavily involves a dog.
They shot a dog,
Yeah, I'm out.
but
I'm out.
he didn't. No. The guy was wearing like a little bulletproof little vesty thing.
The dog?
No. Yeah.
I'm back in.
And in fact, there was a 9mm. This girl stuck it up underneath there to protect. Do not watch one. Do not. It's
Or
a
just
li-
fast forward the first 15
It's a
minutes.
baby
worth it.
beagle.
Oh yeah.
It's a beagle.
beagle?
It's a
I'm
beagle
way out.
puppy.
It made me buy a T-shirt. I got a T-shirt that says "You touch my dog and I'll kill you."
I would buy that shirt too.
All right, quick. We went a little bit long talking about dogs, which is fine. I encourage that behavior. You got a new blog, Sam?
Yeah, this week's blog post was a book review of Gunsmithing the AR-15, the Bench Manual by Patrick Sweeney. I give some of my thoughts on it. A couple of minor criticisms, but overall, it's a really excellent book, especially for you guys in California because you have to do weird stuff to your rifle.
On the job, Sam. Thanks, man. Thanks for watching this episode from Gun Owners Radio. If you're watching mainstream media, you're not getting the truth about guns and the Second Amendment. Gun Owners Radio is the easiest way to stay on top of the Second Amendment fight, the fight for your self-defense rights. You can watch our live stream on YouTube every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, or if you're in San Diego, AM 1170, FM 96.1, The Answer. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform. Just do a search for Gun Owners Radio and you'll find our show. Don't forget to support our sponsors. Click on the links in the show notes and support the businesses that support your Second Amendment rights. Like and subscribe to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.